Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Robbie's Backstage Bants. And for the first time ever, we're going across the pond to Broadway as I chat with Courtney Mack from the Broadway cast of Six a Musical. Welcome, Courtney.
Hi, how are ya?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
How do you feel being the first Broadway star on here?
It's amazing.
The most privilege
Who knew?
anyone can
Little old
feel.
me.
Biggest privilege. So how have you been coping with sort of, I don't know if you've had like a lockdown particularly, but how have you been coping with this sort of situation?
I mean, it comes and goes in terms of like how you feel. I've been lucky enough to be in a place where there aren't a lot of people, so like I can walk outside and go for a walk, and
That's really good.
I'm in Wisconsin, so not a big overpopulated area, which is nice. But sometimes like just the routine of everything,
Yeah.
um, that kind of gets tricky because you know, being on Broadway, you had a place to be at a certain time
Yeah.
every day, and you know, so I was getting used to that routine, and now you have to
Oh,
like
that's, yeah.
create your own. So
But that's really, how is it
yeah.
not being able to be with the girls that you're usually with all the time?
I mean, it's sad.
Yeah.
I I do miss them, and I it's just yeah, it's weird because we were together since, well, once since I joined, which was June of last year.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've been together for a long time, and I feel like we'll be apart for almost as long as we were together. So it's
Oh,
just kind of weird.
that's so upsetting. But hopefully we'll get back soon and we can roll
Hope
with
so.
everything. Right. So the first few questions I've got have to do with your journey and how you got to where you are. So my first
Okay.
question is literally, what is the journey of how you got to where you are today?
Okay. Well, like just onto Broadway, like my
Oh,
musical theater
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of career. Okay. Well, my sister, she did musicals in high school, so I kind of wanted to be like my older sister, so I kind of got into that, got into choir. Um, Although I was super super shy, so like doesn't really make sense as a performer. um, but it was like kind of sort of an outlet for me to
Yeah.
kind of come out of my shell and get to, I don't know, grow as a individual. And after high school, I went to Luther College in Decorah, Iowa for a year for musical performance, which was like the worst choice. I only went there because my choir teacher at high school went there. Um, I did not do my due diligence and look at um, universities or colleges or anything like that. But then I knew that place wasn't right for me because I wanted to do musical theater. They basically
Yeah.
just groom opera singers and choir teachers, and I knew I didn't want to be either one of those.
Yeah.
So then I found there was a guy in my high school. He was a couple years above me, and he went to Columbia College in Chicago. And so I messaged him about Columbia and how the theater program was. And so I made the transition to do that, and then went to school for musical theater, got a degree in it, and worked up until, well, I mean, quarantine.
Yeah.
I was on a cruise ship before auditioning for Six. I auditioned on the cruise ship and sent in
Oh.
a bunch of videos and everything, and then got cast in the show. So
And
kind of
and then the rest is history, as they say.
pretty much.
Um, so my next question would be, were there any other career paths that you thought of before you went into performing?
Well, my whole family, they're in the medical field.
Oh,
Um, my sister, or my dad and my sister, they're podiatrists. My other sister, she's a doctor in internal med. My mom worked at the hospital for years, and now she manages my dad's clinic. And so the medical field was always something that I thought I had to be in.
Yeah, I can see that.
But and I'm kind of the black sheep of my family in the sense that my brain works differently. I wasn't good at like science or math or anything like that.
Either.
I only got A's in like choir and art. So artsy fartsy kind of a mind. So yeah.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So what age did you start then? Were you like teenager
I
or was...
started pretty late. I was in high school. I just did 2 shows in three shows in like my high school years. And then once I got into college, I would come home and I would do the community theater kind of stuff. And but I feel like for the typical musical theater person, I started pretty late because I feel like most kids are like, yeah, I started when I was 4 and I was on the stage and I was dancing, and I had none of that.
No.
No.
I mean, it still shows that you don't have to start that early to be successful.
Right. And I tell a lot of people, like with dancing, that's like the one thing that I'm probably the least confident in.
Yeah.
And I started when I was in college, my sophomore year of college. So like, you know, it really does show that like you can get just as far with this or that, or like not having training in this or not having training, like you're fine.
Yeah, you don't have to start that early. Right.
Yeah.
Now we have a little section here where we're going to be chatting about your career. So you started 6 on the tour, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Was a thing. What venue was that you sort of first?
So I came in as a replacement for Sam Pauly.
Yeah.
So I was Kay Howard for the last half of the run at Chicago Shakes. And then I was Kay Howard for the Boston run at American Repertory Theater. And then I wasn't a part of the Citadel run, but then there were a couple injuries and emergencies happening, so I was there for the last week, and I went on twice for Sam, and then Minnesota, and then Broadway.
And then the big one. Yeah.
Then the big one.
The big one. So what was it like, firstly, making your Kay Howard debut? Like, that must have been something pretty special.
Yeah, it was, I feel like with this show, because it is such high energy and like so much energy output, and it just keeps going, it never stops, which is so I was just wanting to make sure that I didn't mess anything up or mess anything up for the other queens that were on stage with me or the band. I didn't want to like get them off musically, so I just really wanted to do a great job. And I only learned the show in a few days. I learned it in like 8 days. So so it really was it was a journey.
That's incredible. I think that must be the shortest time anyone's learned the show, surely.
Yeah, and but it was great. I mean, I had a run through on the day with all the girls, and I was in my costume, and I had a little mental breakdown, and then they all hugged me and they were like, "You'll be fine. It's great." And then it really, like, it couldn't have gone better. So I was really happy that it went well.
I bet. And then Six just casually made its way to Broadway,
Yeah,
and you made your Broadway debut.
I
But as
did.
far as I'm aware, that wasn't Kay Howard, was it?
No, that was Berlin.
Yeah, that is, that
That
is,
was the first Broadway debut for me.
that's
Um,
wow.
yeah. Um, the first time I went on for Berlin, though, was in Minnesota, and I had just started learning the role for Berlin um, in Minnesota, and it was the day after opening, and it was a 12 o'clock matinee for like a kids matinee,
No.
and I found out an hour before. Never had gone on. Never really like I don't because of like weird uh actors equity rules and stuff like that. We weren't able to rehearse on stage, which was like
Oh,
I was used to working on the stage in Chicago. Like that's how I
no.
learned my K Howard track, and
That's
um
lovely.
so I was like full panic attack mode because I just had learned All You Want to Do choreo because I was usually K Howard.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the heck is happening back here? I never knew it was happening behind me. So I I had a full panic attack because it's like if you're for all the swings and like alternates and people who have to go on stage at last notice, it if you're like new to it, it feels like a life or death experience.
Hmm.
Like it was like fight or flight mode. So,
No.
but that one, I like full on panic attack, came on stage, did the thing, came off, full panic attack again, like just
Oh, bless
crying.
you.
But then by the time we got to Broadway, I was like super excited to go on
Yes,
because
yeah.
I had time to rehearse with Mallory and Nicole, um, and I was just a lot more comfortable and confident with it. But it was like so fun. I'd never had so much fun going on stage like that before. So it was a blast.
I can imagine the energy was completely electric as well, with it being Broadway.
Yeah, yeah, and we had some fans and stuff too that some familiar faces. So it was nice to
Oh,
see
brilliant.
them in the audience just smiling and cheering me on, even though I probably messed up so many things, but I didn't care. It
Yeah.
was fun.
So this is a new thing. I think it's with you guys that have brought it in, the whole costumes thing. With
Hmm.
you guys getting the principal costumes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, we were still in the early stages of everything. I mean, we
Yeah.
haven't opened yet. So,
No, you haven't.
um, uh, they were in the process of making our costumes. Um, like when I went on for both queens, I was wearing um my old like K Howard top that was mine, that they made for me that was different from Sam. Um, and then I was wearing Sam's new skirt.
Yeah.
And then for Boleyn, I was wearing her old top and then I was wearing her new skirt. So, and just like it just so happens that we're similar in sizes. So it worked out.
Good.
Um, but yeah, they were still in the process of making stuff for us. So, and I don't know how it will be once we come back with like quarantine and everything. Don't know.
Hopefully we'll get the costume. So you guys, as it alternates, are now having your set of the costumes rather than your own costume.
Hmm.
Is that how that's working now? You don't get like Mallory's black costume or
No.
no.
So yeah, so I never had my own
Yeah, no, you
costume.
didn't get that.
The only piece that was like specifically for me was the K Howard top.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, they're as far as I know, they were making us like five costumes, or at least maybe stuff that like you can change out, or I don't know something. But that's yeah, we're each getting a queen's costume, which I mean,
So which
as
queens
far
do
as I
you
know.
cover? Or which queen do you not cover? Which queens do you cover?
I don't cover Cleves. So I cover everyone else but Cleves.
Wow. Cleves is the most laid back, and you don't get to do that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get the rough ones.
Yeah.
You have a hard job.
Yeah.
So has anything gone wrong on stage yet when you've been out there?
Um, just in like on Broadway or just in
No,
general?
at all.
Well, when I was on for K Howard, my skirt came undone a couple times. So then like Anna was behind me trying to button up my skirt.
Let's-
Um, there was one time, or the opening night in Boston, I forgot Kay Howard's monologue and was
Uh-oh.
going around to each queen, and I was like, okay, you got beheaded, it's great. And then by the time I made it to Seymour, I had it, but it
Yeah.
was like, whew, sheer panic, sheer, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's quarantine.
Gonna nod and agree. Oh. Well, at least you picked it up.
Yeah, no, I got it back, but yeah, there hasn't been too much. I know Andrea kind of had her buns go a little wonky, um,
Oh.
and all the girls started it was in Minnesota, and I could hear over the speakers everybody just laughing while they were saying their lines and
Oh
singing.
no.
Um, but yeah, not too much.
Not too much. That's
Little
quite
things here
good.
and there,
That's quite good.
but
For, yeah, at least it's not been major
yeah,
problems. Right, so now we're going to roll on to the fans' questions. So these are some.
cool.
So Trevor's question is, if you forget your lines on stage, what do you do?
Well,
That's good.
you just keep going because that happened to me. Um, actually, when I went on for Berlin, um, even when I made my debut, I was still flubbing lines. Like I would reverse some of the words. So, you just keep going, and most of the time, I mean, it's kind of hard because we have such like crazy fans who know the show probably better than we do.
Difficult.
Um, so it makes it difficult for us to like get by with that kind of stuff. But when the show was still kind of fresh and new over here, um, when we were in Boston for the opening night, like you just keep going, and that's all you can do,
Exactly.
and
There's nothing else you can do, really, is there?
yeah, I mean, the show, and your brain will eventually like
Makes sense.
get back to,
Yeah,
it will make sense. Yeah. So, I mean, just keep going.
that's a very good way to go. Your brain knows what it's doing. You just gotta get it and do
Yeah.
it.
Just let it happen.
Emily has asked if you could be in any other production of Six, which would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Ooh, I don't know.
Where do you
I
want
mean, I feel like where it was originated would be super cool.
that to be?
Um,
Place to be.
but I just feel like people would rag on me for my accent.
No, people need to stop with this now.
Or I know one of the queens that was on the ship, and
Yes.
she had said that she had to sing with a um, English accent,
Really?
but she's she's from Hong Kong, but I think she grew up in, I could be wrong. I went to school with her for like a year. Um, but I just heard that one day, and I was like, huh, you probably do have to sing with an accent, just because if everybody else around you, you know,
Yeah,
otherwise your vowels sound weird.
yeah, but then I guess it's different with regional accents then, because obviously within the UK there's bunches of accents, and the productions,
Oh, sure.
they let them be. They can do what they want rather than all sticking with the same. So like, who knows? But at least you
I
get to
don't know.
keep your accent.
That's true.
You don't have to change it, because I think that takes a little bit from the performance as well, and it's not what we want.
Yeah.
So Shannon has asked, which Queen's costume is your favorite?
Um, well, I only had like the taste of wearing two.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I do love Kay Howard's. Just
I like it. It's
I
cool.
got so I just got so comfortable wearing it. Um, but for like the overall, I think I don't know. I like all of them for different reasons.
Yeah,
Like I
like
am
past
super
one.
excited. Oh yeah,
Mm,
especially like the new Broadway version.
yeah,
I do like Cleve's
yeah.
costume.
And
Hers is
I
pretty.
like the new edition as well.
Mm-hmm. Nobody can't know can't know about that yet.
New edition.
Once we open. But yeah, that one's pretty cool. And
Yeah,
also just her boots are
everything.
incredible.
The entirety of
Yeah.
Clem.
Yeah. So cool.
She's the best. Lily has asked, which is your favorite song in the show to perform?
Ooh. Um, I think I like the group songs where we're all singing. Like the
My
song at the
favorite's
end. I like the mega mix. Um, or I guess it's part of Par's song. Um,
Yeah.
when we start coming in, I love that part. Um, yeah, I think the group stuff. Um, I think that's yeah.
House of Holbein will forever be my favorite.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so fun.
I just want to be there doing it with you guys, honestly. And the final fans question, Lindsay has asked, which has been your favorite track to cover so far? I mean, there's only two, but which one?
Um, well, I had only done Berlin twice,
Yeah.
but I know the time that I went on for Berlin on Broadway, I was like just starting to find my own Berlin.
Yeah.
And I've talked to some other people about this that I was Kay Howard for so long that I was able to like find my own Kay Howard. So it would probably be Kay Howard.
Yeah.
Um,
You used to Kate
just
Howard.
because, yeah, I'm used to it and it's comfy and like I know who she is in my body.
Born her in.
Whereas like, yeah, where I was just like starting to find out who my own Bolin was.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, probably Kay Howard.
I think you're very good, Kate Howard. Just from what we've seen of picture wise, I think you
Oh,
seem to
thank you.
look more comfortable as a Kate Howard.
Yeah.
And then we've now been brought on to the quiz of how well you
Oh
know Six.
gosh.
Here we go, everyone. We're gonna find out if she's a Six fan or not.
Oh
I
God.
mean, you can't be in the show and not know the answers to these questions because they're quite easy. I wrote them.
Okay.
Um, the first question is, how many songs are in the studio cast recording of Six? It's quite easy.
Okay. Well, there's six queens,
There is. And there's how many group songs that are in the recording?
ex-wives, Holbein, Mega, 10, 9. There's 9.
There's 9. Yeah, we don't get the
You
mega.
made a face, so I was like
I'm
doubting
trying to
myself.
help you out here. We don't want you getting attacked. Um, yeah, no, sadly, the mega mix is not in,
That's right. That's right.
but at least we get to record it.
Mhm.
Or when you open, it will be, you'll be
I
able to
hope
record
so.
again. I hope so. Because that's quite sad. We don't have any Broadway mega sixes yet.
Yeah. That'd
All
be
right.
that'd be Great.
Second question is finish the lyric.
Okay.
Now, this is from a role you cover, but you have not yet covered them.
Okay.
So the line is, you've got nothing to say.
You've got nothing to say. I'm not going away. There's no way.
Yes. And that is, of course, from No Way. And there's another one right. You've got 2 right so far. 2 out of 5. We can do this. I should have made it 6. I keep thinking this every time. I should have made it 6 questions. There's
I
something
mean, the
wrong with
show
me.
is 6.
I'm really disappointed in myself. All right, next one is a who speaks the line? Guys,
Okay.
I have the plague.
Cleaves.
Yeah.
That's
Good line for
my,
time right now. It just really works, doesn't it?
yeah,
I
seriously.
think it's brilliant. And there's another one right. Okay, now these questions, one of them is really easy. One of them might not be so easy. Question number 4 is who plays Catherine Howard in the studio cast recording?
It's Amy.
It's Amy.
It's Amy.
Yeah. Yeah, we love Amy. Amy's top notch.
She's awesome.
And then we have question number 5, which if you get this wrong, no good.
Okay.
The question is, which theatre is 6 playing on Broadway?
The Brooks Atkinson Theatre.
How did she get that right? No, that
So smart.
you kind of were in there.
Yeah.
Back in the day when you were allowed to be.
Yeah. So many months ago.
But we will get back. Absolutely, we
Yes.
will be there. Eventually.
We will.
It'll happen. Right now, it's just a few reminders and then we are done. The first one is, of course, we are here, but we're not just here for fun. We are trying to raise a little bit of money for Acting for Others. So anything that anyone can donate, there'll be a link down there. They support the theatre industry. They support everyone in the industry all year round, not just through a time like this, but it is needed right now because obviously everyone's sort of out of work. And another reminder, just to check my social media pages because you'll find out who's coming up next. And you didn't hear this from me, but there may be another 6 Broadway girl coming right up in a few weeks' time. Who's it going to be? That's exciting. Yeah, really, really, really. And then, of course, this was my first ever Broadway one. Just going to reiterate that, episode 5. You're one of the original 5. But apart from that, I just really want to thank you for coming in and giving us your time today and sharing your wisdom with us and having a nice little chat.
I don't know about that, but thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. And thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.